Morgan Frost. Man, what a ridiculous season for the saga of Morgan Frost. He was scratched for 7 of the first 13 games this year. January 4th against Columbus was his 11th scratch of the season. And I said this name to you guys before the show. You know, in that January 4th game where Torts was making the point and he scratched Frost and scratched Atkinson against the Blue Jackets, they dressed 11 forwards. One of them was named Rhett Gardner.
Rhett Gardner.
Create a player.
I can't believe how quickly I erased that name from my mind.
Seriously, it had been completely erased from my consciousness and will be again after today.
So in the 35-game stretch after that, from January 6th to March 26th, 7 goals, 29 points for Morgan Frost. He really turned it on after he came out of that scratch with a goal and an assist and was just really good up until the final 9 games. He had 1 goal, 0 assists, and played .802 in the final game. I am shocked that we haven't heard, oh yeah, Morgan Frost has gone up to Danny and be like, get me the fuck out of here, man. Like, I just can't, like,
maybe he has.
And I think that maybe speaks very, like, highly to his dedication to both the team and, like, believing that Tortorella isn't bullshitting him when he says, I'm doing this to make you better. Like, I actually think he must believe that. Otherwise, he would have just been like, dude, trade me. What are we doing here? But
I don't know. Charlie says everyone likes it here.
They love the guys.
That's what I mean.
They love the room. I mean, he's best.
But, like, this is bad for his career.
With Joel Farabee. Have you seen those pictures when they do like the hands? Like,
yes,
they're
very cute.
How is he
extremely like bros for life?
How is he ever? How's he ever supposed to get a big raise if the coach doesn't like playing him?
Yeah,
like this is bad for his career.
I think you underestimate like just how like good of a dude Morgan Frost is.
He seems like a very nice.
He's
dude.
a very nice boy.
Which I think was nice. Which still go like I want to be a millionaire.
But I think that was part the reason. Like the fact that he is a very nice boy, now a very nice man, was one of the reasons why Tortorella tortured him as much as he did, because he wanted him to yell at him.
He's such an asshole.
I know.
There's something wrong with him. We talked about this before the show. Like, Tortorella's got to stop proving points. Like, all of the points have been proven.
That game where they dressed Rhett Gardner, they dressed 11 forwards. 2 of them were Delorier and Rhett Gardner.
No more points.
So effectively, he went with 9 forwards to prove a point.
Yeah.
But
and granted, like the Atkinson scratch was warranted because he stunk for most of the season.
But what I'm getting at is I could see Morgan Frost, one of the reasons why he doesn't want to leave Philly is because, and like this is such a like non-ego driven reason. It's like, well, you know, they drafted me. I wasn't a lock to be a first-round pick. They believed in me. They developed me.
2 GMs ago.
You know, they developed me. They gave me my shot. I was injured, and they still stuck with me. But, like, that's the kind of person that he is, where, like, he feels, I think, a sense of loyalty to the Flyers.
Hockey players are so stupid.
Not all of them do. But Frost, I get the sense, is that kind of person.
Then he needs to hire an absolute psychopath agent.
Yes.
Like Ari Gold coked out of his mind is who he needs as his agent.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of the reasons why I feel bad for him when Torts does the shit he does, because it's like he's just seems like a nice dude, and Torts is just like poking and prodding him with sticks.
I need you
also,
to be.
He's pretty good. Like, could we stop pretending he's not good either?
Yeah, run us through some of these numbers, Charlie, with like where he kind of ranks.
Yeah. So by the numbers this year, he grades out pretty darn well. I thought the big jump he made this year was in terms of his two-way play, because my argument was before this season was that the point production, like, yeah, he's a pretty good even strength scorer. I'll grant him that. I want to see more on the power play. But yeah, end of the year, points were good, especially in the second half. If he's not driving play, he's mostly just a hollow point producer who doesn't produce points at an elite level. And I don't know if I want to save a spot for that guy on a contending Flyers team. This year, his two-way play got substantially better. He was in the 86th percentile by impact on expected goal differential, which pretty darn good already. But here's the eye-opening one. The 80th percentile among forwards in terms of defensive impact. And he's generally viewed as an offense-only guy.
Yeah.
This version of Morgan Frost, the guy who, you know, can score at a solid middle sixer center level and also drive play at a first line level, I'll take him on my team any day of the week. This guy, not like last year's Frost, I'm like, eh. If this year's Frost is the real Morgan Frost, he can be my third line center any day. On like a true contender, he can be that guy for me. And he can be like almost like a 2B to a 2A if you get that true 1C.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. If this is the real Morgan Frost, then, you know, maybe all of those tough love meetings and conversations, it's turned him into a better 2-way player because maybe he's never going to be a great offensive player. He'd be a good offensive player. Maybe he's never going to be a great offensive player. But if he can be a good offensive player and be a great play driving center, yeah, I'll take him on my team any day.
I want so much more from this kid. Like, he has so much, like, raw skill. Like, his skill with the puck is, I think, better than anyone on the team except maybe Bobby Brink, and Brink still has a way to go.
Yeah.
And granted, again, this is a low end. This is a low bar to clear. For
yeah, like it's going to be very funny if Morgan Frost is still on the team when Mitchkoff gets here. Yeah, and it's going to be
even if he's second and Mitchkoff is first, it's like there is no second.
Yeah,
you're eighth, and the next guy is you know, Morgan Frost is your top, or Mitchkoff is your top 9, and then after that is everyone else. Now it's just like I don't understand why he doesn't produce even more points. Some of it is the power play. Yeah. But as we said all year, like, you're going to have to be that guy, especially for this team. Now, granted, he did lead the team in power play goals.
He was pretty good on the power play this year. I mean, as good as you can be on like the worst power play ever. But no, he was better on the power play this year. The reason why I'm harder on Frost with the power play than I am on, say, somebody like Tippett is because I will always view shooters on the power play as more or less the product, unless you're like Ovechkin. But I more or less view shooters as the product of the playmakers. Yeah. I expect the playmakers to drive the power play.
Yeah.
And Morgan Frost is a playmaker. I want him to be making the power play better, whereas I'm more willing to forgive a Tippett because it's like, well, if they were set up in the zone more and someone was passing him the puck, he'd have more goals. Frost is the guy that should be passing him the puck, so I want more out of him on the power play. And maybe I'm being a little torts here, or I'm holding him to an unfairly high standard on the power play, but I just want more from him on the power play because I think he has the skill when his team has one more skater than the other team to make more plays on the cycle when he's set up on one of the half walls.
That's the, like, if you're not the most physical guy, if you're just kind of more of a skilled, like, that's your time to shine,
exactly.
Man. And everyone else needs to do their part as well.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
They had Igor Zamula on power play 1 for a lot of the year. That's not exactly
can I blame Rocky for this?
What?
Can I blame Rocky for this?
You can blame Rocky Thompson for anything if you really want to.
I sure can.
There you go. Yeah. I did like, though, and this was maybe for about a 2-3 week period, Frost, I thought, looked pretty good in the bumper. That was an interesting,
they were moving him around. Like, he'd be
on the bumper.
He'd be in the bumper. He'd be on the wall. Like, that's when there was like a 2 or 3 week period where there was motion on the power play.
Where we said
it wasn't the worst.
It looks visually better.
Yes, visually it was better. Yeah.
We all silly like the mayor.